Welcome back. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty of building a news program, so I figured if I brought tools, it would create kind of a connection for you. Building a show, tools, get it? So while you watch the next Media Moments, I'm going to build something here. And when we're done, you'll know all about the construction of a news program, and I'll have a beautiful doghouse.
You don't have a dog.
What? Well, I can always get a dog. Props!
Have you ever wondered if print stories were the same as those written for broadcast? Well, both must answer the same questions: the who, what, where, when, why, and how. But that's about where the similarities end. Broadcast stories are written for the viewers to hear and see. After the stories are written, the visual and oral elements are combined in such a way to make sense of the story. Once that is done, the viewers are engaged. Unlike newspaper stories, if the listener's attention focuses somewhere else, they can't go back and reread the section. It is for this reason broadcast stories are constructed in such a way to grasp and hold on to the viewer's attention. The usual format of a broadcast news story is to tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you've told them. What's that? Well, a lead into the story gets the audience's attention. In other words, tell them what you're going to tell them. This is also called an advanced organizer. In broadcast, a lead-in is similar to a newspaper headline. It lets the audience know what they're about to listen to. Then they can decide if it's important enough for them to watch. The next step is to tell them. Here the reporter combines information and video to create a succinct package that interprets the story. The reporter may also use sources. These are people who can give credible information and facts that emphasize the important parts of the story. Finally, the reporter will tell them what they've been told. In this case, the advanced organizer or headline is repeated in case audience members have just tuned in and wonder what the story was all about. As an added twist, some stories may be reported live from the scene. This adds immediacy. Even if the story happened earlier in the day, it may still be reported live. This gives the impression that the news organization is on top of things and bringing you up-to-date information as it comes in.
Oh, hi again. I've examined the who, what, where, and when of my building project. My project has changed a little, or rather it's been edited. It seems I'd either have to get a really small dog or build something else, like bookshelves. Cancel the dog. So while I'm editing my project, you watch and find out about news editing. Yeah, shelves. That'll be good.
The stories used in a newscast are a combination of live hits, pre-tape video segments, and field reports. The cameramen, anchors, and reporters go out and find the stories, come back and write them. But it is the editor who goes back, pulls those stories together in a fashion that makes sense. You see, when news people go out to report on a story, they don't always get it in a linear fashion. What does this mean? Well, when you watch a news story, you usually see the reporter give an introduction. Then they talk about the scene where the incident occurred, along with video of that scene. Finally, they finish with a live tag out. That's the story presented in a linear fashion. It follows a logical line. However, most reporters and cameramen don't report a story that way. They use something called a B-roll. For example, let's say a reporter is doing a story about schools. They might have to go out and shoot the interview first. This is called A-roll. A-roll is any video where someone is talking about the story. Then they might go and shoot video of the scene. That's B-roll. B-roll adds visual information that helps the viewers understand the story better. Finally, the reporter shoots the introduction, tag out, or conclusion. Okay, this is about editing. Where does the editor come in? Well, if the reporter brought back all the information they shot in that order, it probably wouldn't make sense. In fact, they may have shot 10 minutes of video for a 90-second story. They obviously can't show all of that, so it becomes the editor's job to take the A-roll and the B-roll and roll it into a story that makes sense. Quite often, you'll see an editor sit in a room very similar to this one with tape machines and an audio mixer. It is here where the editor literally cuts and pastes the story together. And of course, let's not forget, because of the immediate nature of news, the editing must be done quickly and accurately in a timely fashion so it's ready by airtime. As you can see, editing video for the news is a lot like working a jigsaw puzzle. This requires a great deal of skill, experience, and knowledge of television production. Watching news programs from the early days of television provide a sharp contrast to the way the news looks today. Early programs were, of course, in black and white, and the news was read by men in suits sitting behind a desk stationed in front of a plain background. But the news programs of today have a completely different look and feel. The same technology that has enhanced news reporting has also provided elements that add variety and attractiveness and effectiveness overall. The goal is to communicate more information in the same amount of time. The modern news program uses a variety of nonverbal elements or graphics to help the viewer understand the presentation and add clarity. There are elements such as the name key. This is where the name and title of a person are superimposed over their image. This helps the viewer to keep track of who is speaking and how much credibility they bring to the news story. Another graphic treatment used regularly is the logo of the program. When displayed often, the logo provides instant recognition to the station and is a key feature to identifying the show. The most common way of displaying the logo is through the use of a bug. A bug is a transparent logo in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Ever heard of a bump? The bump is a graphic element used to separate portions of a news broadcast. It might be used to set up the next news segment or to change moods between the stories. The next time you're watching the news, pay attention to the quick visual element that separates the sports, weather, and special assignment. That's the bump. And I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, the magic of television. Nowhere is this magic more evident than in the use of a chroma key. Here, a specific color, most often green, is replaced with a different picture. Have you ever looked closely at the weatherman standing in front of the maps? He's actually standing in front of a green screen, and the image is being inserted graphically behind him by the use of a graphics generator. By shooting a person in front of a green screen, the background effectively goes away, and a new background can be inserted so that, to the viewer, the person is standing in front of a graphic or map. As a weatherman stands in front of the green screen, he watches himself on a side monitor that shows him in front of a map, so he knows how to move and gesture. In fact, if the weatherman were to wear a green shirt, his body would disappear. The use of nonverbal elements in news programming is not a recent development, but technological advances in television have made it possible to use them to a greater extent. When used effectively, they provide clarity and help the viewer understand the news presentation.
Well, sometimes plans have to change. It happens in news programs, and it certainly happened with my building project. Let's just say the bird feeder isn't going to happen either. But don't worry, I'm still going to build something. Okay, who brought the marshmallows?